Hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And today we are going to be talking about the Vin Cube 2x2 and why I think it could be the best budget 2x2 on the market. Let's get right into this. Before we get started, if you could consider liking the video and subscribing as we go through this, I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. We're trying to reach 1,000 subs, hopefully as fast as we can. I don't have a specific goal in mind. That is just a number I'd like to get to. So, let's talk about the Vin Cube 2x2. Yes, I know I'm behind, because this has been out for a while, but I am busy with school and work and competitions and tons of cubes and whatnot, and I'm finally getting to this. Before we really get started, I also want to thank SpeedCubeShop for sending me this puzzle. It was very kind of them, and I really appreciate it very much. So let's talk about the Vin Cube 2x2. This 2x2 came out about a month ago. There is this version, which is UV magnetic ball core, and this comes in I think around $17. And then there is a regular version that's not the ball core. I think it's matte too, that comes for about $11 to $12. So we do have some options with this puzzle. Now, what do I think about this cube? Well, I have some tools to help us today. I have brought our friends the Vin Cube 4x4 and the Chi M Pro 2x2, and we're going to do a little bit of comparing to really get a feel for this cube and help people understand like what I'm talking about when I say stuff. So the Vin Cube 4x4, this has been out for a while. This 4x4 is probably the second best 4x4 on the market, only to the Aosu V7. So this is a pretty solid 4x4. I'm pretty sure Max Park still uses this, so it's a pretty solid 4x4, yes. And how would I compare this to the Vin Cube 2x2? Well, they have a very, 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 very similar feeling, which I think is awesome because that means Vin Cube is very consistent as a brand, which I think is super cool. You know, they're not all over the place. Their puzzles are very consistent with each other. The UV coating, very consistent. It's got that classic Vin Cube feel on the 2x2, and it feels pretty good. I really like the Vin Cube UV coat. I think it feels phenomenal. Their color shades are the same, so that's cool. I think the yellow might be a bit, maybe just depending on the lighting, the yellow looks like it's brighter, but they're about the same. So that's also pretty cool. And yeah, the 2x2, it's got the exact same feel as the 4x4. So again, consistency across brands. And I wanted to compare that because a good way to help describe like how a puzzle feels is to compare it to another one that a lot of people probably have. And I imagine a lot of people probably have the Vin 4x4, so hopefully that helps you understand kind of what this puzzle feels like. And so now what I'd like to do, we need to compare it to another budget 2x2, because let's be real here. If I'm going to claim that it's like the best or one of the best budget 2x2s, we got to put it to the test. Now, this is the Chi M Pro 2x2, and I think this comes in at around $11, something like that. But I think it's pretty solid. It's a pretty good 2x2. You can get some good times on it. And I want to compare both of these. So, looking at the Vin Cube here, the Vin Cube actually, this version specifically, claims that it can corner cut at a rate of 45 degrees. We're going to test that. So, let's get about 45 degrees here. Okay. So it'll go. You kind of have to force it. And it might not go the way you want. But if we do a little bit less here, let's do like, I don't know, 40 degrees. Maybe less, will be like 35. You can get some pretty good corner cutting out of this cube. So like there is some good corner cutting. Excuse me. So we have that. Now let's test the Vin Cube corner cutting. Not the Vin Cube, the Chi M Pro, sorry. Alright, so even I would say this is what, probably like 25, 27 degrees. I don't know what an odd arbitrary number 27 is. It's not going. You gotta, I mean, you could wiggle it around a little bit, maybe try to force it, but it's not gonna cut that. Whereas the Vin Cube can comfortably cut that. For the most part, I would say. So, realistically, you shouldn't be corner cutting that much. Your turning is probably pretty trash if you are. But the Vin Cube definitely beats the Chi M Pro in corner cutting. UV versus matte, I think that UV wins. Obviously, I'm a UV fan, which most of you probably know. since I've paid lots of money to have my big cubes in the UV version. So there we go. We have 2 for the Vin Cube. 2-0 Vin Cube so far. Now let's talk about stability. The Vin Cube, much like the 4x4, does have some stability issues. It's very fast, which makes it sometimes hard to control. And that massive corner cutting does help a little bit with that problem, but I think you're still going to get some catches, and so because of that, you know, it's not as stable, whereas the Chi Pro, it's very, very stable. It has very good speed, which helps keep it, you know, stabilized, and it's not going to be that big of a problem. Another thing that affects stability, and that's mechanism. So if you look into the Vin Cube 2x2 here, you can see everything's pretty loose, and yes, I have the cube pretty loose, but everything's pretty loose inside of there. And what I mean by that is my Chi Pro is not as loose, and nothing wiggles at all. So, and it might be hard to see, but on the Vin Cube, there isn't like any, like this piece moves a lot more freely, where on the Chi Pro, there's actually like a little notch that really helps keep this inner edge piece in place. Like this isn't going away. I don't know if you can see that, but you see that little tiny, yeah, you see that notch there? That helps keep these inner edge pieces in place, which means, yes, they still move, of course, but they're not gonna just wiggle around in there like they do in this cube. So that adds to the stability. The mechanism of the Chi Pro does provide a little bit more stability than the Vin Cube does. So mechanism and stability, that's going to give 2 to the Chi Pro. Now we have to figure out, well, what's going to be the tiebreaker? And for me, the tiebreaker is going to be magnets. Both of these cubes are magnetized. Which one has the better magnets when it comes to strength, placement, etc.? So a special feature that is included in the Vin Cube 2x2, this cube has what they're calling, I think it's like a single magnet column, which means that all of the magnets are aligned in the puzzle better, basically. And what that means is you get a nice, snappier, better magnetic feel, and the magnetic feel has more accuracy, which helps with the auto alignment, which makes the 45-degree corner cutting almost unnecessary. But this has a really good magnet strength, and the magnets within the puzzle are placed in such a way that not only does it have good magnet strength, but it utilizes it to the max advantage that it can too, which helps somewhat mitigate some of the stability problems that it has. Whereas the Chi Pro, I think the magnets are a little weak personally. They're not like, I mean, they're definitely like mid-strength, but they're probably on the lower spectrum of what I would call mid-strength. And a lot of its stability really comes from a slower speed and mechanism, less than the magnets. And I'm not sure about how like these magnets are placed inside of this puzzle, but I feel like I can definitely feel a really big difference between like how this performs magnetically and how this one performs, with this one coming out on top. So for me, that gives the Vin Cube 2x2 a score of 3-2 versus the Chi Pro, which for me puts it on top. Not by much, but it puts it on top. This is what I previously thought was the best budget 2x2, and now I'm leaning towards the Vin Cube 2x2. It comes in at under $20. Although it has some slight stability issues, it has a lot of features that help make up for that, and it feels really good to turn. Now, is this going to compete with the Moyu Weipo V5 or the GAN 2x2? Probably not. But those cubes are also quite expensive, with the GAN 2x2 with the most expensive version, I think coming in close to $60 maybe. And the Moyu Weipo V5 is a $40 cube. So for half the price, you can get a pretty solid 2x2 from Vin Cube. I may have just gotten a corner twist, yes. And that could just be how loose I have the puzzle. But yeah, for half the price of the Moyu Weipo V5, you can get a pretty solid 2x2 that's going to perform well and that you're going to enjoy solving on, and just has a really nice feel to it. Whereas, you know, this cube, yes, feels good. You're going to probably perform pretty decent on it. To me, it's just not up to the same standard as this. And so for them to be a similar price, and you know, this comes out on top in those features, I think this price to performance is pretty solid. It's it's good. I think this is another home run hit for Vin Cube. I think in the 2x2 world, you're gonna see this probably more as your best budget 2x2, right? But it's gonna be there for a while. I think it's good. I don't see somebody coming out with a better budget 2x2 for a while. It's not gonna be quite like the 4x4, where this is like at the top of the 4x4 world. This is going to be on your lower end in the budget spectrum, but it's going to be, I think, a popular option, because I do think it's really good, and I think it definitely can be considered the best budget 2x2 on the market to date. It doesn't compete with the UPO. It doesn't. It kind of, the GM Pro kind of competes with it, but not as much as I don't know what I'm saying, because nothing is better than this, I think, in the budget world. So whatever. I'm fumbling over my words. You know, this doesn't quite compete with this. So I think this is a better budget option. So I'm gonna do some solves here. I'm gonna do some hand scrambles because my computer is off, so we don't have to hear the noise from the fans. So I promise I have my eyes closed right now. All right, let's do some inspection here. Okay, so this this scramble is like bad. Oh, I plus 2'd. Okay, so that would be a 7.59. I'm bad at 2x2. I don't know if any of you guys can tell, but I actually suck at 2x2. I think, and nobody can take this the wrong way, I think 2x2 is low-key for tryhards. Not that that's a bad thing. Some people are really, really good at 2x2, and more power to you, because some of us, like me, are not as good at 2x2, and so maybe saying it's for tryhards is just my way of justifying being bad at it. Okay, that was a 9.09, but I was looking through the camera, so I'll do one more solve for you guys. That's probably good enough. And I'm gonna look not through the camera this time and kind of see like what we can do. Okay. Okay, that was a 5.618. Okay, not bad. I average around 5 seconds, so right on par for me. Yeah, I actually really like this 2x2. I think I would still main my Wapo V5 over it, but this would be a really good warm-up cube for me. And I think for somebody who's looking to make a splash into 2x2 but doesn't want to spend on the Wapo V5 or the GAN, this is a very, 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 very good option. Again, I want to thank SpeedCubeShop for sending me this puzzle. I had a really good time messing around with it. I really enjoyed comparing it to some other puzzles, and I will definitely be solving this more in my free time. Check it out. I'll leave the link in the description on where to get it from them, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Again, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and peace.